All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Content Exploration Sessions, Studio B at Britain Marketing and Design Group. My name is Nick. I am a content strategist here at Britain Marketing and Design Group. And we are a creative design branding agency. We focus on brand-centered content creation, lifestyle marketing, fun things like that. Today we're going to talk about communication tools and features and things like all the good stuff that we use to communicate very effectively here at Britain. So we hope that these are a little bit informative sessions, that you get some takeaways, maybe try out some of the tools that we talk about. So to my left, we have Mr. Dave Good. He once threw a car to 200 feet.
It was 238, but
okay, with his
you
bare
don't need to be
hands.
exact.
Okay. And then we have Kara Hackett here. She's our one of our digital storytellers, and I don't know too much about Kara, so I'm going to put her on the hot seat.
She threw a car 5 feet further than I did.
Okay.
I did.
235 feet. So, but Kara does a lot of our social media management, content creation, and things like that. So. She's fairly new here at Britain, so I'm going to ask her some questions, and hopefully we get to know you a little bit more. So these are going to be hopefully engaging, interesting questions.
Cool.
You ready?
I wasn't planning on this, but yes.
Okay. All right. Question 1: Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram?
I use Facebook most often, so I'll say Facebook.
Okay.
But I like Instagram better, technically, because it's more positive. But
Okay. Newspapers or blogs?
newspaper.
Kara has a little bit of a journalism background, so that's cool. Are you Team Stark, Lannister, or Targaryen?
Oh no, is that from Star Wars?
No, it is not.
Okay. I don't know anything about Star Wars. We were talking about that earlier.
Yes.
But no, I do have no idea what those
that's
are.
Just Game of
Harry
Thrones.
Potter?
No.
Okay.
That's good.
Gryffindor.
Yes. Oh, okay. All right.
I'm
so-
definitely Team Targaryen, if you were wondering.
Okay. all
Okay.
right. Are you really? Or
No.
you're not a Game
No.
of Thrones. Okay. So. Okay. Well, last question is, what's brown and sticky?
Ooh, that can be dangerous. An old banana.
A steak. So,
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
So-
Tootsie Roll.
Tootsie Roll. Oh, yeah, I guess so. But. All right. Now that we know Kara a little bit more, which all those questions you didn't really know anything about,
No.
so they were an excellent choice of questions from my end. So that was great. For 2017, last year, content exploration sessions were all about different facets and aspects of content creation and distribution and paid and all that good stuff. This year, we're taking a little bit of a different approach. Started with our first session in January, which was about ideation and brainstorming, and then we're moving through the whole campaign process. So at the end of December, we're going to be talking about analytics and assessments and things like that. So today, we're talking about communication and collaboration. So let's get to it. Communication that we use internally, email, Slack, IRL, in real life, face-to-face conversations, conference calls, meetings, webinars. How do you guys prefer communication?
Definitely some kind of messaging, whether it's Slack or Facebook Messenger or something like that. It's quick, it's easy, it's people respond relatively quickly, so.
So you're an instant gratification kind of guy from a
messaging standpoint, yes.
Yes. Okay. Kara, what's your I guess primary mode of communication?
Yeah. I feel like I like work communication kind of like I like personal communication. So it's like I want a text message or a Slack message if you're just sending me something, or if you're like, hey, let's meet here and let's do this, like fast stuff that makes sense for. But if you want to have like a serious conversation about something, like I can't do it over, like I hate it when someone sends you a long typed message, because being a writer, you know, there's so much like thought that goes into that. And like there's actually a great movie that kind of portrays it, Girl Boss, that new show on Netflix, where they have the two characters sitting across from each other, like saying, like they're reading their text like blank faced, because that's kind of how you picture it. And then in behind them is the real characters, and they're like crying or like fighting or like they're happy. And it's like, it's just that difference in portrayal of like a typed message versus a face-to-face message. So.
And it's a lack of context.
Yeah, lack of context. And it's so easy to take something like that was meant to be a joke or that was meant to be really serious out of context. And really assume all these things about the other person. So I think that
If it was meant to be a joke, it would have a joy emoji in it.
There you
with
go.
Tears.
well, still it can be taken
Or
the
an
wrong way.
LOL in
But there's
caps.
passive aggressiveness though, and I think that you can't account for the passive aggressiveness that kind of comes in like,
That's true.
oh, it's been a hard day, like, haha, like when really there's a lot more in that. So I prefer face-to-face for things that are highly emotionally charged or important to really just determine.
Mhm.
But if it's just like, meet me here, let's do this, then
Yeah. So is it
Slack.
more of kind of the investigative journalist aspect of just meeting someone face to face from you, or is it that's you just want to understand the context more?
I think, yeah, different situations, different things. But yeah, I think both of that probably comes into play.
Mhm.
Like, I have a hard time not really getting to talk to someone and ask them questions. I
Mhm.
feel like you can accomplish things a lot faster sometimes, which is kind of counterintuitive.
Mhm.
But versus sending all these messages that are just like, neither here nor there, but
Yes.
and getting short replies. But yeah, I think that it could be either way.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been in situations where a short message on whatever platform it
Mhm.
is, an email or a Slack message, all of a sudden turns out to be a 20, 30 message thread. So then obviously the whole productivity of using that specific channel wasn't conducive to the message at the first time. So
Right,
that,
right.
that's when we go to in real life communication instead. So there's obviously that's why we have a lot of meetings here. We try to really have structured meetings so that we get to the point, but it certainly is important to do in real life face-to-face type of communication. So what makes a good communication tool? What do you guys think? What does a communication tool need to include in order to be effective?
Emojis.
Emojis.
Gotta have emojis.
Okay.
It does help.
It-
Well, you can see expressions.
Reactions,
yeah.
emojis. Yeah.
It's gotta,
Are you-
it's gotta make it more efficient to communicate.
I think efficiency is like, that's what I was going to say. It's like, it has to be useful for what it is intended to be useful for.
Mhm.
So it's like, if Slack is not the best way to do something, then like it's not efficient. But if it provides a way for teams to chat, then obviously it's good at that. So
Yeah, and from our perspective here at Britain, the tools that we use primarily is we still use email. We use Slack from communication. We have a lot of other collaboration tools that have communication in them from a content creation standpoint as well. But our primary modes of communication would be definitely email and Slack, and then through our meetings. So we have those three modes that are probably our primary. And let's talk a little bit about email. We use email more from an external communication standpoint, or at least that's the boundaries that we've set up. We're using Slack for internal communication and collaboration. So email should only be used, or about 90% of the time, email should only be used for client communication and external things and so forth. So, but what do you like about email? What don't you like about email? It's a medium that's been around for 25, 30 years or whatever it might be, and it still functions, right?
I think there are times where email is easier for archived communication because you can scroll through past messages, or it might show, it'll copy the previous message at the bottom, when you're replying, things like that, versus in a messaging system like Slack, where you then have to scroll until you find the old message. And you can, reference a previous message, but typically we don't, most people don't do that. So.
Mhm. Okay, so from an archival or just a holistic, this is the email thread,
Right.
and I can reference everything back. So that's a good. What about you? What do you think about email, and how do you use it?
I feel like I like email for like documents that almost you want to be able to find again, because I feel like Slack, it's deleted messages that I needed before, and so it just seems kind of unreliable for that. Like, I like Slack for disposable things. Like, if you're gonna just be like, hey, can you come over here and check this, or like, hey, this is ready. But I've just had bad experiences, like Slack only saves your last like 100 messages or whatever it was, whatever your team cap is, and so then you go scroll up to find it, and it's like, ah, crap, it's not in there if they didn't pin it. So then it's just like a frustrating data, I think, like loss perspective. But if you just have like a document that you really want to keep and make
Mm-hmm.
sure it's still going to be out there available for you, email is my favorite.
And what do we see as far as the effectiveness of email versus Slack? Because we think the one thing that I like about Slack is that I don't necessarily have an inbox of email full of just emails that I have to get to anymore, because so much of our internal communication here now is in Slack, so I don't have to chase that inbox zero in email.
That's a myth. The zero inbox,
Yeah,
that's a myth. That
that's
doesn't,
true.
It
does not
true.
exist.
Yeah. But I also see myself, I've also seen the benefit of using Slack now, because I don't have I don't have an overload of emails sent to me anymore. Most of my emails nowadays, meeting invites and calendar notifications and things like that, which is pretty cool. So, so that's the good part, right, of using two different communication
Yeah.
platforms, right?
And a lot of the things that we use in Slack will have different groups set up, or communication channels that are based on the project we're working on, versus an email. It's all just in one folder, and you got to go through and you have to file everything if you want it separated, or it's all just lumped into inbox.
Yeah.
Yeah. In some ways, like, marketers have kind of ruined email, because like they've flooded our inboxes with all of these newsletter signups and promotion signups and all these things that like they really haven't tapped into Slack yet. I don't know. It seems like I'm a little nervous to say that, because it's like, well, what could they do there? Like, could they be sending you pop-ups ads or something? I don't know if that's even like a real thing.
Right.
But it's like, in a lot of ways, I think email would be really more useful if it didn't get so like commandeered for sales
Marketers
and
ruin
promotions.
everything,
They
yeah.
kind of do, which is funny. But hopefully, we're just not having as much bad content and more good content.
Yeah,
All
I think the good thing about Slack is that you can silo obviously, because we have created groups. So, but then again, Slack does, their whole roadmap is to integrate with everything, and they do a really good job of integrating with pretty much all the tools out there, and all the tools want to integrate with Slack. So, so only the time will tell where that's going to be taken. So, but that's a good point. Email and spam and things like that is definitely prevalent, and something that we have to sift through on a daily basis to stay on top of things. So, as marketers, we need to do better sometimes. So that's a good point. What about other things that we use? What do you think the next step is? Slack has video calls. We've done a couple of video calls through. That's always, when we talk about losing context in communication, it seems like video conferencing is obviously, it's getting more prevalent and more integrated into and more accessible.
Right.
So,
Except for the part where you do the video conferencing, but you mute the camera so that you can't see the person, and it's just the outline.
yes, that would be a detriment. Yes, but yeah, but it seems like video is as for us, from marketing perspective, video is so prevalent in everything that we try to do from a content creation standpoint. But it's also important in communication, because it does allow more of that contextual communication. So. So what do we think about the future of video conferencing, and how would we integrate that? Is it Slack video calls and using that platform, or is it using more the GoToMeeting and things like that, Zoom and all that stuff that's out there? What do you think?
I think sometimes it's probably more based on internal, external.
Yeah.
Like the Slack, because we use it internally and not very often with our clients, it might be more of an internal tool when we have people off-site or out of town and those type of things for a video conference, versus GoToMeeting tends to be with vendors and with clients and things that people that are outside of our Slack ecosystem.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting again, we talk about Slack a lot because we use Slack a lot. So, this is more of like a Slack feature session than anything else, which is okay because we love Slack. So, but I think you're right. The differentiation there is, what are you doing internally versus externally. if you're onboarding your clients using Slack and different Slack channels and Teams and so forth,
Right.
then maybe that can be incorporated. But then there's a whole, the whole infrastructure part of things as well that needs to be taken into consideration as well. What about something like, webinars? I know that's not communication because it's presenting and things like that, but it's kind of top of mind because we do a lot of streaming of webinars and live streams and all that good stuff in the observatory here. How do you think you can improve the communication aspects of webinars? Because we've seen it seems to us kind of that people should not necessarily be doing webinars anymore. They should just be live streaming this stuff because it's a lot more engaging, right?
Right, I think a lot of people still choose to do a webinar because of the gated aspect of it and needing access and needing somebody to sign up with their email so that you can continue to market to them and things like that. I think that I've been a part of a few webinars that have been really engaging, where they will pause and ask a question and say, hey, if you agree with that, click yeah or type yeah in the comments. And then you pause for a few seconds, people start, typing yeah, and if they, and you keep that engagement, and then you're keeping people interested. Versus most webinars are just, you're just listening, and somebody's talking, so there's not a lot of engagement.
So if we would build our own communication tool, what features would it have?
Emojis.
Okay. You're clearly getting some kind of payola from the emoji industry, so emojis, that's valid because we, Slack has their Slack emojis and their reactions and things like that. So, and that's kind of part of the communication landscape nowadays, emojis. So that's actually, if you would have said that 3 years ago, I would have laughed at you right in your face. But
I kind of was wondering if you were about to laugh at me right now. Right in my face.
Right in your face. Yeah. But okay, so what else? What else do we need other than emojis in the perfect communication platform? GIFs. Giphy. So we need a Giphy integration.
If we were going to create our own communication tool.
Okay. So we need Giphy integration. What do we need, Kara? What else?
History, like storage, good memory of important files or recovery, because I feel like that's something I use a lot.
So make sure that everything that is placed in said communication platform stays in the communication
it's easily
platform.
accessible.
Okay, that's cool. What else? We're building it right here. It's going to be a really good communication platform. One thing that I think is or I guess it's twofold, but it's accessibility. It's got to be synced. It's got to be on whatever mobile device we have. Or it's got to be on the iPhone, the Android, the web, the Mac, maybe VR. Is that the future? Virtual reality kind of communication?
You gotta have avatars.
Right, Facebook, whatever it's.
Facebook Spaces.
Yeah, that's right. Facebook Spaces. So is that the future of conference calls?
It very well could be, but maybe some sort of an actual representation of your face versus an avatar face.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. It's interesting. I've never thought about it, but I think it would be nice to be able to see people's face to face and like. It's another way people can work remotely too. Is like if you had a video or a VR, I guess you could like. Stream in and kind of be present, but also work remote.
What other?
But the thing is, with VR, you can like swipe away stuff in the air.
Yeah, I know. So if you were really mad at somebody at a meeting, just swipe away.
Don't you send me that emoji?
You would look really funny though, sitting at your desk being a swimmer.
But they wouldn't notice because your coworkers would also have VR headsets on, so they would look equally as silly.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to wear a headset all day. I have to make them stylish.
I don't know. What's it like wearing glasses?
It's okay. It's okay. Sometimes it's.
It really sells it.
Sometimes it's yeah. But so virtual reality. Then you could have cool backgrounds too. It's like you're green screening yourself, so you could pretend that you're on the beach.
Like if you chose to have a bunch of leaves behind you, and I chose to have a blank wall behind me.
Yeah.
That could be the choice.
I wonder what that would be like.
So we have emojis, we have reactions, we have GIFs, we have syncing, accessibility, we have virtual reality capability. What else do we need in the perfect communication platform?
Integration.
Integration with everything.
With everything you do.
Okay. So that's so that our platform can integrate with whatever other tools are out there that we use for getting our stuff done, like our content creation tools, our time entry tools, our design tools, full integration across everything.
Yes.
Calendar integration would actually be really helpful because it's, sometimes you send people a message and you don't know they're in a meeting or you didn't realize they were out today, and so it's like it would be nice if you could see what their schedule was work-wise and kind of know when you could message someone, know when they were out.
Yeah, calendar integration, very cool. Kind of one of the Slack's new features that launched last week, which is, you can set your little status now to away if you want. So that's kind of that's part of that. It's a very limited part of it, but it's kind of a cool nuance. What else would we need? I like the integration, of course, because that covers everything.
Right.
Literally, could cover everything and should. What about different roles, permissions? Should there be some kind of threading of messages? That's again going back to Slack.
Yeah.
They have threaded messages now. So, what else? What else?
I don't know. I think that's the perfect communication tool already.
Okay. Yeah, I think so too. Obviously, it needs to have file uploads and things like that. File integration, drag and drop, preferably, of every file format that's out there. It needs to be accessible inside the platform too, so there's no two-way no gates around there as well. So I can watch a movie right in there. I can view an InDesign file. I can edit a Word document in there if I'm using Word. So
it would be nice to have approvals too. I know a lot of times with clients, like, they want to go through a route of approvals within the office, and so it's like it would be great if I could post some copy in there that could then be sent through the line of editors and kind of approved along the way versus having to integrate something like our whatever tools that we use now. I can't think of the name
so
of it.
a workflow.
Workflow
Would be cool in a communication platform too. That's a pretty solid tool we've built, I think.
And like feeds would be interesting. I think like having a feed of content that you could specify, so kind of like a Feedly integration, where you could pull shareable content to share with your team.
Okay. Aggregating and discovering content within the tool, the communication tool. I mean that's perfect right there.
Face masking for video calls too.
Okay. Yeah.
So you could be like a little fox.
Exactly.
While you're talking
some
about the new
lenses
project.
or something.
Yeah.
Or that face swapping in real time with your
Face
client.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Face swap with your client.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd appreciate that.
That could be it. That could be interesting. Absolutely. All right, so we built the perfect tool.
Huh?
There you go.
So we'll ship it and we'll talk to some VCs, firms, and see if anyone wants to back us with this, and we'll launch it here in 3 months or something like that. And we'll take over the world from a communication platform standpoint. So
There you go.
It's coming.
good. All right, so that's all we're going to talk about from communication tools and features. So thank you both for sitting down and sharing with me. Our next session, again, all these sessions are last Friday of the month. Next session we'll be talking about content creation, which will be a lot of fun because we always have fun talking about our internal content production process, how we structure content in chunks, and how we really have a robust content strategy here. So that will be fun. You can find all of our content exploration sessions on our YouTube channel, so just go ahead and search for Britain Marketing and Design Group. You can access britainmdg.com/blog to read some of our features on tools and things that we use as well. So I think that's all I had for today.
Cool.
Anything else?
Sounds good.
All right, thank you very much. See you next month.
Thank you.